Hi, my name is David Sanford. People ask what I do, and I say I'm a cross-cultural consultant. And after I get this, and a blank stare, I say, okay, all right, I'll tell you what I do. I'll begin by saying how I was trained in this field. My training began when I was 18 months old. My father worked for the United States State Department, and we were living in Southern California. He picked up his family and said, we're going to Taipei, Taiwan for 3 years. So we went to Taipei, Taiwan for 3 years and spent 3 years there, followed by coming back to Washington, D.C., where I spent 2 years. I get confused sometimes by the years. And then we moved to London, England for 3 years, and then came back for a little less than a year, and then I spent my adolescence in New Delhi, India. Now, when I came back that time, I was the one doing head scratching, saying, I look American, I speak American, but I don't feel American. What's the disconnect here? So I think my formal education in this field began at that moment when I really felt very, very different. I went on to graduate from high school, which I was very proud of, and then went on to university. Studied Western psychology, which, as it turned out, had not a whole lot to say to me because it was American Western psychology. I learned about the adrenal glands of rats. I learned about abnormal psychology from an American point of view. Basically, I was frustrated by that experience. So when I graduated from college, within 3 weeks, I was on a jet in the Peace Corps going to Middle East. So I taught English in the Middle East and felt very much at home, once again in a plane going to a non-American place. And finishing the Peace Corps, I came back to this country and went on to graduate school in intercultural management. So I've been in this field for about 15 years, working primarily with cross-cultural communication, that element of communication that occurs when people from very radical cultural backgrounds interact with each other, either primarily in the workplace, nonprofit, profit, whatever it might be. So I work with that union, that point when people work together, and oftentimes miscommunication develops. So to give you an idea of this, I'm going to ask you to join me in a little exercise. 1, 2, 1, 2, okay? You have to listen on this conversation here, okay? So number ones, what I want you to do is tell the number twos. Just tell them about your evening last night. Just tell them, think about what you did last night. Now, part of this game is you have to remember what you did last night, okay? Okay, so think about what you did last night. Okay, the catch is this. The catch is this. Each time you use a verb, I want you to use, not your first choice, use an alternative verb. For example, I stood up can become I arose. I went. I traveled, okay? Change your verbs, okay? Number ones, okay? Number twos, be good listeners, okay? Okay, so for a minute, number ones, tell the number twos what you did last night.
Redressed, and then I took my car to the car wash, where I sucked out all the crap from the back seat with a machine and scrubbed it clean in the Bay Area. Then I went home and prepared cereal for dinner.
Exciting.
Yeah, and
Okay, time. Okay, all right. Change roles. Number twos,
okay,
you're on. Okay, number ones, be a good listener. Okay. What did I do last night? Change your verbs.
I traveled to the dentist.
That's exciting.
I delayed in the waiting room. I was escorted to the hygienist chair, and I reclined in the dentist chair. I moved my lips apart and allowed a complete stranger to insert all manner of metal things.
Okay, time. You're enjoying yourself. Okay, number ones. How was that for you? Uncomfortable?
Yeah, it was. I really had to think of what those alternative verbs. First, what was the verb?
What was the verb?
What
was the
what
verb?
verb was I going to use
And what's the
instead?
alternative?
Yeah.
How about for the twos when you first listened? What was that like to listen?
I had to translate
Yeah.
because I wanted to use the verb she really wanted to use.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, there was some translation there.
Right.
Then it was like trying to understand her perspective on things, and almost like, do I really want to know this?
Right. Well, this kind of mini experience you just had is the essence of what I do. I work with people whose culture is very, very different and whose language is different. Their value systems are very different. And oftentimes when you place people together like that, there's a lot of disconnect that occurs.